Friends, today is the day to break the vicious cycle. We are trading our time for money. And if you never get out of that cycle, especially if you don't like your job, you're gonna look back on your life and say, man, I wasted all of my prime time on doing things I really didn't like. Today, I'm not just gonna talk about trading dollars and hours. Today, I'm gonna share with you how you get out of that rat race. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you how to stop trading time for money. I'm not just gonna give you this rant of, don't do that, make your money work for you. I actually wanna share with you exactly what it looks like and how you blueprint this out. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start with you. And I'm gonna give you this beautiful depiction of you. It's this happy stick figure person. And you were frowning, but you're happy now because you had already watched this video and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna implement this. And this you in your household, what you do is you end up producing an income. And I'm gonna ask you to actually take some of that money and put it in a brand new bucket if you've never done this before. This bucket is where you're gonna put an excess of money. It's not a 401k, it's not IRA, because understand that those investments, they're not really designed to create the financial freedom or independence that you're gonna want when retirement comes around. You're gonna get to an age where you're like, I don't wanna work anymore. I can't trade my dollars and hours. I need my money to work for me. And in society's plan, in a lifetime, the average person cannot create enough money to go to work for them unless you get on a different wavelength and a different financial plan. And I'm gonna talk about that plan right now. So first of all, let's just say that right now we've got the average household in America, the combined income is around $80,000. I'm going to invite you to do something different than you've been doing before. The most important financial decision of your life, which is before you pay any of your bills, before you put that money towards cars and groceries and taxes and etc., I want you to take from that a percentage. And I want you to take a percentage of that money and I want you to drop it in this bucket. And this is your freedom bucket. Now, I'll give you an example of this. If you were doing $80,000 a year and you made this 10%, then by the end of the year, how much would you have in your freedom bucket? You'd have $8,000. If you only could set 5% away, it would be $4,000. If you're like most Americans, you live check to check. And I want you to know it's not because you don't make enough money. It's because of the way you look at money. It's the way that you have your spending habits. Parkin's law dictates that whatever amount of money you make, you're going to increase your level of lifestyle to meet it. So by the way, if you were making $50,000 a year, you're likely spending $45,000 to $55,000 a year. But if all of a sudden you get this crazy raise and now you're making $100,000 a year, you're going to adjust very quickly your lifestyle so that you're spending between $90,000 and $110,000 a year. And then all of a sudden you're making $250,000. And if you're like most consumers, you're now going to be spending somewhere between $230,000 and $270,000 a year. And I know that most of you have got to be watching this like, Kris, you crazy, man. If I doubled my income, I wouldn't do that. You think that all you want. Your consumer-minded training habits is to spend whatever you got. We're going to break that pattern by helping you put money in a freedom bucket for a different purpose. Because every year that I work, this happy person is making $80,000 a year, or if they're making $20,000 a year. That was like me. I started with so little, and I was check to check. And I want to make you a promise that if you'll pay yourself this money and automatically withdraw it every month first, no matter what, you're going to see your world change because you treat it like an expense. It's called paying yourself. Now, paying yourself is the first step towards making your money work for you instead of you working for it. And let's talk about what you can do with that $8,000. What's going to happen each year is you're going to put money in this bucket, and this money is going to go into one of two places. We've got another bucket down here, and this bucket is called security. And security means I'm going to take a percentage of this money and I'm going to put it away because I need to develop my peace of mind. This peace of mind is worth so much more than whatever it is that you're buying to maintain in your lifestyle. But once this peace of mind, which let's just say that it represents 3 to 6 months worth of living, then the rest of the money is going into your investment bucket. But this is investment bucket number 1. That would mean that there's more buckets. That's because we don't put all of our eggs in what? One basket. That's how you actually lose everything and don't get where you want to go in life. So we're putting that money in our investment bucket, number one. And let's just say that that money is set aside and what you're doing is you're buying a home. I do real estate. We will do other examples. But you're buying a property and you're like, well, Kris, if I buy a house to live in, that's a $5,000 or $6,000 down payment for me and my household. I've saved up enough money for that, but I bought the house smart. I bought it with $40,000 of equity. And I bought it, I lived in it for a short while, and later I'm gonna rent it. I'm gonna make $500 a month on my investment. Look at what's happening right here. I got money in my security bucket, which by the way, instead of my savings account, too accessible. You gotta really train yourself and be disciplined. I might put this into a whole life early cash out policy that's producing 6 to 7% on my money. Now I've got this money. Is it a lot of money? No, but the amount does not matter. The principle matters. My investment, my house, when it's paying me $500 a month, is that a lot of money? Compared to the $80,000 you're making a year, it's not. It's an extra $6,000. But this is the part that I want you to know. We now have some money here, we have some money here, and we have an asset here. Meanwhile, we're putting more money here. And what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna start working on investment number 2. I want to compound this investment. I want to compound this money. I'm doing that by rolling some of it into my new investment, adding some of the money from over here. This is now producing more residual. And does this have to be real estate? It actually doesn't. I diversify by being in lots of single family homes, but I diversify in a lot of other ways. Also, there are other people with business ideas that I love to invest in, because people in many areas are smarter than me. There's this kid that figured out how to take a $120,000 prosthetic that people can't afford, and he figured out how to use a 3D printer to get him down to $5,000 and make that available to people in the world. Wow, that kid is going to go somewhere, right? You're going to hear, if you put yourself in the right time and place, about opportunities, investments. Sometimes they'll work, sometimes they won't, but that's okay because that's less risky than doing something that is guaranteed never to work. Parkinson's law, never having enough at the end of the day, no matter what. What we're going to do with time is we're going to diversify and we're going to open up more buckets. Let's say this is another real estate bucket. We compounded some here, we put some over here. This went into another property. And here are the 2 things that you need to understand. The first and most important decision that we're talking about here is the percentage that you are going to save. It's better aptly put, pay yourself, that it will turn into both savings and investing. And then number 2 is you've got to utilize the benefit. There's no more financially powerful concept in your world than compound interest. Compound interest is one of the most important things that you can get working for you. Because some of you, for example, I know some of you are watching this, you're like 18 years old, you're like, I don't need to save for retirement, I'm just a kid. Not so. Now is the time to actually start, because it's from having a couple $100 accumulating over time that it turns into enough to buy a house or invest in something. And maybe that investment will or won't work out, but you have a lifetime now of commitment of savings and trying, having some work and some not. But then the magic is when you compound it. All of these investments, if you're even just doing 8 to 12% on your money, then a couple years from now, as that compounds, that can turn into 20 or 30%. A few years from now, your original dollars could be earning you 100% or 200%. And there's no reason why it can't keep going on and on and on. You might actually get with me and say, Kris, you talk about partnering where I don't even need to save money, and I can use my brain and use this to start another investment bucket with partners. Can I do that? You can absolutely do that. My Partner Profits course teaches you step by step how to present your ideas in the right way, how to find the people with money, and to make deals happen. And all of a sudden, you're now even doing deals where you're using your brains and you're not even using any money to actually grow your financial wealth, your net worth, and your empire. And friends, this is an empire that we're talking about building and growing. And I'm not here to tell you in this video what you're supposed to invest in. Well, what I am here to do is to tell you about 3 really important principles of how you get your money working for you. Number 1, pay yourself. If you can't understand how on earth you have leftovers to do that, you're thinking it the wrong way. It's got to come off of the top, and the money is always there when it's off the top. It's not always there if it's at the end. Number 2, is you got to compound that, which means hold these investments. What seems small and insignificant today, $50 here, $200 there, in time becomes $1,000 here, $5,000 here. In time becomes $100,000 here, $200,000 here. In time becomes $1 million here, several million there. In time becomes $1 billion here, several billion there. It compounds and it grows. And here's the third and final principle that I want to share is diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I don't buy one big real estate property, I buy several small ones. That is a form of diversification. I have commercial deals, that's a form of diversification. I have businesses I invest in, even my own. That's a form of diversification. The whole thing that makes this possible is these three baseline rules. So friends, if you want to make your money start working for you, then this is really what it comes down to at the start, the genesis. Instead of you working for money, which you're going to be doing for some time now, you've got to take some of that hard-earned money and you got to put it to work for you, as opposed to hoping that the next raise, the next bump in the pay, the better job eventually will make the difference where you can start savings and getting ahead. It's a principle, and every one of you, no matter how young, is capable of doing it right now, because in the beginning, you'll have all this money that you're working for and a little bit of money that's working for you. Compound that, wait, then it'll be, I'm working hard to make this money. Oh my gosh, my money has grown into something that's paying me. And then in time, what you're trying to do is get the money that's working for you to squash the amount of what you're doing to work for it, till one day it just doesn't even make sense anymore to be doing whatever you were doing to trade money for dollars. Where do you go from here? First of all, make the number one most important decision in your life right now. Know exactly what you're going to set aside, and then find a way to automatically debit that, pull that out, and get it to safety so it doesn't just become one of the lost bills that years from now you're like, where did all that money go that I made? And have it mean something for you. Start with that first decision, let it build, let it accumulate, and then you'll find yourself one day waking up as an investor saying, I've got money to invest with, I've got my first choices in front of me, and you too can make it happen.